In the days of King Saul, the Israelites were locked in a fierce battle with the Philistines. The two armies faced each other across a valley, neither side willing to engage in full combat. But the Philistines had a secret weapon, a giant named Goliath, a fearsome warrior over 9 feet tall, clad in heavy armor and wielding a massive spear. For 40 days, Goliath came forward, taunting the Israelites and challenging any of them to face him in single combat. His booming voice echoed through the valley, striking fear into the hearts of even the bravest soldiers. No one dared face the giant, and the Israelites cowered in fear. Meanwhile, a young shepherd named David, the youngest son of Jesse, tended to his father's sheep. David wasn't a soldier, but he had a heart full of faith and courage. One day, his father sent him to the battlefield to bring food to his older brothers who were serving in King Saul's army. When David arrived at the camp, he heard Goliath's taunts and saw the fear in the eyes of the Israelites. But instead of fear, David felt anger rise within him. How could this uncircumcised Philistine defy the armies of the living God? He asked the men nearby. What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine? David's words spread through the camp, eventually reaching King Saul. David was brought before King Saul, and he boldly declared, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul looked at David, a young shepherd boy, and replied, "You are not able to go against this Philistine. You are only a boy, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David persisted. He told Saul how he had fought lions and bears while protecting his sheep, and how God had delivered him each time. "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine," David said with confidence. Seeing David's faith, Saul agreed and said, "Go, and the Lord be with you." He offered David his own armor, but David found it too heavy and unfamiliar. Instead, David chose to face Goliath armed only with his shepherd's staff, a sling, and 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream. As David approached Goliath on the battlefield, the giant looked down at him with disdain. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" Goliath roared. He cursed David and shouted, "Come here, and I will give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." But David, unafraid, replied, "You come against me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today, the Lord will deliver you into my hands." With that, David ran toward Goliath. Reaching into his bag, he took out a stone, placed it in his sling, and with one swift motion, he hurled the stone at the giant. The stone flew through the air and struck Goliath square in the forehead. The mighty warrior stumbled, then fell face down to the ground, dead. The Israelites erupted in cheers as they saw their enemy fall. David had done the impossible. He had slain the giant with nothing but a stone and his faith in God. David ran to Goliath, took the giant's own sword, and used it to cut off his head. When the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they turned and fled. The Israelites pursued them, claiming victory over their enemies that day. David, the young shepherd boy, became the hero of Israel, and his name would be remembered forever as a man of great faith and courage. This victory marked the beginning of David's rise to prominence, eventually becoming the greatest king of Israel. His unwavering faith in God showed that no matter how great the challenge, with God, even the smallest can overcome the greatest of giants.